Hi Queens, Sam here. Welcome again to my YouTube channel here, Black Women Build Wealth. As you can see today, I have another guest with me on the platform. I'm super excited. Natasha is joining us today to share her own journey building wealth through real estate investing. So same thing as Sarah and Evelyn that we have had in the past videos here. Natasha is also building wealth through real estate investing. So we are going to be learning more about her. And hopefully by the end of this interview, you will have learned something, from her strategies. And that could be something that you can also use for your own wealth building journey. So welcome, Natasha, to the Black Women Build Wealth Journey. How are you doing today?
Hey, thank you. Hey, Queens. Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Great. Perfect. So Natasha, before we get started really on the, I guess, the meaty part of the interview, do you mind introducing yourself to the audience? You can share as much or as little as you want. Just for them to know exactly who's Natasha.
Yep. So I'm Natasha. I'm living out here in Playa del Carmen. I came from Houston, Texas. And, I'm just out here living and finding my personal freedom. And I'm excited to be on this journey.
Great. Welcome again. So as you know, there are many ways to build wealth. You have chosen real estate investing, as we had a quick chat about it. Can you share the reason you actually chose real estate investing and how's that been going for you so far?
Yep. So like many people, when the pandemic started and we were trapped in our houses, I started doing my vision boards and I started thinking really about what I really wanted to do. And, the term or the word freedom kept resonating with me over and over and over again. I really wanted financial freedom. I really wanted to create generational wealth. And I really wanted to create passive income that I can do anywhere while I travel, because travel is a passion of mine, another passion. So that's really what led me down the path of real estate investing.
Great. And so how has that been going on for you so far? What are the things that you have achieved? What are the challenges you have encountered and how you have been overcoming those challenges?
Yep. So right now it's going pretty well, but I will say in the beginning it was very challenging because whenever you start real estate investing, especially no matter if you're doing it locally or at the time I was thinking out of state, but now I'm investing when I'm out of the country completely and I'm investing in the United States, is that you have to have a team. You cannot do it without a team, and for me, the challenging part or the part that took the longest was finding a team that was reliable, and that was effective, that could get things done, and also at the same time being trustworthy. So that was like my probably number one hurdle. And then the second hurdle was finding my market, which is probably right there equal with finding your team, because you need to find the market. I knew I did not want to invest in Houston. I was interested in multifamilies, and they don't really have that there. So I needed to find the market that fit my price point and that was not tenant friendly and things like that. So that
Mhm.
was a challenge for me in the beginning, and that caused me to take a lot of time.
Okay. And how did you overcome those challenges? What are the steps that you took to actually have your team in place or finding the right market for you?
Yeah, so starting with finding the right market, initially, quite honestly, I was just picking a market that I heard a lot of people talk about, and then I look online and I see the prices were good, but I had no idea about tenant laws and things like that. So that kind of led me down the wrong path. um, then I switched markets, and now I'm in a landlord friendly market, meaning that I have a lot more power over a lot of different processes. So that was that. And then with the finding the team, honestly, in that original market, also, it was very challenging because I didn't have, like people say mentors are like really great. I didn't have like a real mentor or even a person that I could just talk to about things. I was just out here by myself, just trying to make it happen. That's why I always say we are better united, we are stronger united, because I was just out there and it was really hard to find a team or to find people who were consistent. So the way I got over that was I just started speaking more to my peers and just reaching out to other people who were also in the business, and I had to stop being afraid of staying in my little box. And, I don't know if it's the Scorpio in me or what, but sometimes I'm not always open to asking for help. I want to figure it out on my own. I had to really stop doing that because it wasn't working. I had to humble myself and be like, you know what do you think about this? If they gave me information, that was great. If they didn't, that was great too. I just keep it moving now, right now. So yeah, I had to just step outside of my box and be fearless with it and just ask questions and ask people who want to win like me, and so I think that was key, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I you highlight you highlight really, different aspects that also previous guests have highlighted, the importance of having like a coach or a mentor, someone who has done what you want to do and can really
Yeah.
guide you. But also the importance of finding the community, the right community for you, of people who are like-minded, who are going to be supporting your goals and not looking at you as if you are like, two heads and three arms and be like, what are you trying to achieve exactly? So I think it's really important, because if not, you're always gonna feel isolated. So I think that's something that you mentioned that seems to be coming back again and again as we actually getting to interview Black women who are like investing in real estate. And so in terms of real estate investing, there are like so many different strategies. So what are the strategies that you have right now uh, that you have implemented, or that you're thinking of implementing, essentially, with the markets that you are dealing with?
Yep. So my favorite strategy is something called delayed financing. I'm not sure if people have heard of it. I'd never heard of it until my mentor told me about it. And it is a way to kind of swoop in and get a property very easily, and then still cash flow off of it. So what that involves, just a quick like tip hack to it, is say if you are a cash buyer, you can typically swoop in and buy a property much lower and quicker if you have the cash. When you're doing traditional financing, something like that, the cash buyer will probably get the property before you because it's faster, and the sellers nowadays, they just want to close fast. They don't care what you're going through. So the delayed financing involves, I'm just going to use a house that's 50,000 because I did just buy a 5-bedroom house for 50,000 last spring. 5-bedroom, two
Did
bath.
you say 5 bedrooms house at 50,000?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I used the delayed financing method. What I did was I took that 50,000, I bought the house, and then I actually slapped a mortgage on there, which is less than $300, and now I have a Section 8 tenant in there renting it for $1,250. So yes, I do now have a mortgage on it, but I'm cash flowing off of that property. And and when I did the delayed financing, when you put the mortgage on it, you get that money back depending on the loan to value ratio. It depends on how much you get back. Before COVID, it was like 90. Now it might be like 75. It depends on your lender. And you get that money back, then you can reuse it again for your next property. So it's kind of like the rinse and repeat kind of thing that a lot of people who are in real estate do. I forgot what they call it. Oh, the burr, but I'm
The
not
bird.
like selling it. Yeah, the burr. But I'm not selling it. I'm a buy and hold investor. But yeah, that's exactly what I did for that single family home. And it worked like a charm. I got in, I swooped in, I got the property, I put a mortgage on it, and then I got that money back within 2 weeks of slapping that mortgage on it. And I went on to the next property. I bought another one like 3 months later. I bought a 4-unit right after that with the same money that I bought the single family home with.
Okay. You have said you have dropped so many gems in that just short, that short paragraph right there. I'm gonna have to rewind just to make sure the audience gets it. So there are so many new concepts even to me, and I think it's also because I live in Canada, and you guys
Yeah.
in the US, you have so many different strategy when it comes to real estate. So the first thing is the swoop buying, right? So right,
Yeah,
so
if you have some cash, and people get cash for investing in real estate a whole bunch of different ways. Like people do it, I don't know. People do all kinds of things to get cash through real estate. You can Google. That's a ton of videos on that on YouTube. But for me, because I also have a consulting business, we can get into that. I just had a lot of disposable income, so I already had the cash. And quite frankly, even people with disposable income don't like to use their own money. They still like to use these other methods so that they can leave their money alone. I hadn't incorporated those methods yet, so I was just using my own money. And yeah, I bought the house for 50,000 cash, right? Closing just like a normal closing, everything closed within 2 weeks, right? Cash. As soon as I got the property, I already had my lender lined up. She already knew I was going to close on this property. Then I pretty much, since I owned the property outright, when I put a mortgage on it, of course, I didn't have to pay down payment or anything like that. There was another closing cost, but because the property was, low, like a low purchase price, I was able to not pay that much in closing costs. And because you can't get around closing costs, it just is what it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no such thing as no closing costs.
Mhm.
So I did that. Then I put the loan at, the loan is under $300. And then I did rehab the property a little bit. I put a light rehab work on it, which was another $5,000. And quite frankly, since that was my first one with that general contractor in my new, in the new market, I probably could have got it a little lower, but it is what it is. I was already living in Mexico. You know what I mean? I had actually never laid eyes on the property, laid eyes on my team at this point. You know what I mean? I'm really doing all of this from here in Mexico.
Mhm.
And so I did put a light rehab on it. And then, I also have a property manager out there. I have a placement manager, and I have a general contractor. I have someone who does inspections. Thankfully, I haven't needed a lawyer yet. So I haven't had to evict anyone or anything. So I haven't used that process yet. But and so then we got a tenant in there for Section 8. Actually, it came with a Section 8 tenant. So I was already cash flowing instantly anyway. But then she had to go. Yeah, she had to go because Section 8, you can only, say if your children become adults, you no longer qualify for those kind of things. So all her children became adults, so she no longer qualified for a 5-bedroom house. So she had to go. When she left, I rehabbed it real quick, took about 6 to 8 weeks. And then I got another Section 8 tenant in there paying $1,250. So I forced the appreciation by putting a light rehab on there. And now I'm cash flowing off of that every month, get that check every month.
That's amazing. And the former tenant was paying how much?
The former tenant honestly was only paying like $850, $800. Yeah. Okay. So it was decent to get the money until her lease was up. I think it was like 1 month I had to wait so she could go. And then,
Okay. And the delay financing, can you explain exactly what that means?
What that means is you buy the property cash and then you put a mortgage on it, which is the financing after delayed financing. Okay. That's really what it is in one sentence.
Okay, great. And so just to clarify, even if you're buying the property cash, you still do your due diligence. I want to be clear to the audience that it's not because you're buying property cash that you're not going to inspect the property just to make sure that there are like no major issues. Because yes, you might just buy the property at $50,000, but if you have to change the roof right away, or if you have a foundation crack, then it kind of ruin your whole strategy. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this, but why I said an inspector is part of the team. Before I even put a property under contract, I have my inspector walk the property. And you're right, they check the roof, foundation, water system, water heating, AC, all major things. Things like tile and toilets, I don't necessarily care about. Right? Because I'm probably going to replace all that anyway. But any major things I need to know about, because like you said, I might not want to purchase it, or I might want to use that strategically to get a lower purchase price.
Okay, sounds good. And again, so right now you bought the first property cash, you had a delay financing, so the bank gave you that $50,000 when they financed it.
Yeah.
So you took that $50,000, and then 3 months down the road, you bought another property. Mm-hmm. So, and then you got a delay financing on that one as well?
So for the second one, the 4 unit I bought, which was more, but honestly, it was 4 units for $100,000.
How many bedrooms in each unit?
So let me see. One of the units is 1 bedroom, another one is 2 bedrooms. Okay, so one unit is 1 bedroom, 2 is 2 bedrooms, and 1 is a 3 bedroom.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just hearing the numbers and I'm like, how do you buy a 4 units at $100,000?
Okay, so another thing also, I don't buy anything that's on the MLS. I might look on the MLS just to get comps in the area, but I don't buy anything on the MLS. I only buy off-market properties. Okay. So that's another thing. Yeah, I only buy off-market properties. So that's another thing about just communicating with other people who are in the area and stuff, because people have these properties that they might want to offload. Because a lot of like people who've been investing for a long time have all these single family homes or 1 to 4 units, and now they're buying bigger properties like commercial properties. So they'll start to offload a lot of their properties that they've had for a while, because now they've expanded so much. Whereas I'm just coming into it, I'll take them if I can.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm starting to see in a lot of markets. Like people who have been doing it for a while are just growing and growing and growing, which is normal, which is a good thing. But yeah, I don't buy anything on the MLS, because the MLS is not, in my opinion, is not for investors. The MLS is for, if I want to buy a home that I want to live in, this is for people who own or occupy, because they're not deals. You know what I'm saying? That realtor or whoever, they're trying to get the most money possible. And as investors, we're trying to spend the least as possible.
Exactly. And so how do you find those people who are offloading properties?
Yep. So there are people who actually, their whole job in life is to find these properties that people are offloading, and they're called wholesalers. So I've actually connected with a few wholesalers. And then if they have something, if it meets the numbers, if it meets kind of like the requirements that I need, because not all of them are good deals, to be honest, then that's when I'll be like, okay, let me see if I can get one. That person's job, like they're just constantly looking for properties where people are in trouble, maybe with their taxes, or maybe they inherited the property and they don't really want it. They just want to sell it really quickly. That's what they do all day long, is find those properties. And then they work with people like me who want to buy those properties.
Great. That's amazing. And you're always in the same market. Like you don't go in any other market. You just find wholesalers who are like essentially trying to find deals in that.
And apparently, I don't have a Facebook account, but apparently they be on Facebook and stuff. So I'm like, I need to get on Facebook. They have like their own little communities also where they post stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I need to get on Facebook so I can see some of the stuff popping up. And just like you said, do your own due diligence about the area and things like that, and have someone inspect it before you sign a contract, and get that deal.
That's amazing. And so I like to say, real estate investing, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in the United States also, it's a male-dominated industry. How you, as a woman, as a Black woman, as a matter of fact, as a Black woman not even living in the US, but investing in the US, how do you navigate those, that industry? Because I'm pretty sure you must be dealing with a lot of males. And so how do you deal with them, essentially?
Yeah, so one thing I will say, and that's one thing I'm like really serious about, is empowering Black women. So I try to build my team around Black women as much as possible. And just because I think it's important to empower us as women, as mothers, as whatever, you know what I mean? So it's kind of funny because my property manager is a Black woman. My placement manager is a Black woman. The title company I use, they're not Black, but it's all women owned. The general contractor and the inspector, they're men, they're Black men. My wholesalers are Black men. You know what I mean? So I'm about empowering our community, and we all getting this money together. But you are right. In the sense that a whole lot of the other investors are just so male dominated. And for me personally, what I can't stand is, as women, we're there to do business. That's it. And people, sometimes men, Black, white, whoever, they think it's okay to kind of like make little jokes like, I should have took you out or something like that, And for me, I'm just like, I'm not here for that. I'm really just about getting my bag. So quite honestly, it is something that I am faced with all the time. I could be all the way in Mexico, just like me and you having a quick Zoom call, and it's still like they expect me to key in with them on the phone or on the Zoom, and I'm just not about that. You know what I mean? Give me one of them houses for free, maybe we'll talk. I'm just playing, but in general,
maybe we'll talk. Maybe
exactly, maybe we'll talk. But no, I'm just not about that. So it actually is a challenge. But for me, quite honestly, I'm pretty transparent, open, and be like, boy, stop. That's not what I'm doing here. That's not what we're about. I'm about the bag. And I keep it moving. I just keep it about the numbers, because that's what this is about, really. It has to be about the numbers. You can't be emotional, attached, anything to any of these things. It has to be about the numbers. And if the numbers don't work, then walk away, keep it moving, just like anything else.
Well, that's a good point. And honestly, like, real estate investing is challenging for men. For women. I've had discussions, even like, with a woman realtor, and she's married, but she will tell me, when I take people to go see places, she's like, sometimes I take my wedding band off. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because that can help me to make a sale, because people will feel more comfortable talking to me if they feel like I'm single, not attached, versus if I'm married. And no man does that, right? Like, you don't have to do that. So I feel very, to me, it's kind of like very not fair that women have to be becoming, pretending to be someone else just to be able to do their job, when really we are qualified and we want to make, do the deals and the same as men. So I like to hear that, definitely, to be able that you can stand in your be like, firm and be like, no, I'm not here for that. Even if I really want to, I'm still not here for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what is your vision for your real estate business? What, like, in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, what exactly you would like to have achieved with your business?
So the word that always resonates with me is freedom, because that's really why I left the States. And that's really what I'm about at this point in life. I want as much freedom as possible. So any type of income streams that will help me do that, I'm all about that. So my goal with real estate is just to continue it to expand. Right now, I'm in the single family to up to 1 to 4 unit buy and hold market. So I'm going to continue working on that because that's what I've been successful with. Also, I want to, as one of my goals this year, actually, I want to learn more about group homes, because I think that's another avenue that you can get into very easily and literally have, checks from these different like programs and stuff for different people who are staying in these properties. It's basically like the state renting a room for a disabled vet or something in your house. So like say that 5-bedroom house that I have, I could literally turn that into a group home, and not one for like, there are different levels of group homes. So I want one not for people who like need nurses or anything like that, but for like disabled vets or women who are going through a transition period or something like that, and they have these programs, and they'll pay their rent for up to a year, and they're basically just renting out each room to each person. And that's, that could be 5 checks coming in the mailbox every month, So that's going to be my next thing. I'm looking into that now because hopefully, by the end of the year, I'll have at least one of those under my belt.
And I'm putting that into the universe for you. So that's amazing. That's such an amazing goal. So I hope that you actually get that done.
Yeah.
For sure. So you did mention earlier that you also have your consultancy business. So I'm assuming that you're also building wealth that way. So I guess the next question really is to know, other than real estate, and I'm a huge fan of having more than 1 or 2 income streams. Of streams of income as much as possible, because you don't want to rely, even if it's real estate, you just don't want to rely on real estate, because if there is any issue with the housing industry, then you get hit really bad. So what are the other ways that you're actually building wealth right now?
Yes. So my main job is really, I have my own consulting company. I'm a system analyst, and I help large healthcare systems implement this EMR system that is very, very popular in the States. That's kind of been my main vehicle to stacking cash per se. So, I call it it's helped me invest. You know what I mean? I take the money from there and I've been able to invest. So that's probably my primary source of income at this time. And then also, and I agree with you, I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket. What do they say? Every millionaire or billionaire has at least 7 streams of income. And I'm trying to get to that, Another thing that I've started doing, almost a year ago, I've also started day trading. And that is like my new passion now. I've been doing very well with it. And it's something that is also another way that you can be people free, do it during your own time, and make some money really, really easily. It's just a learning curve to it. That's all it is. It looks crazy at first, but then there's a learning curve like anything else. And I treat it like a business. Like I'll wake up at 6:30 in the morning. Okay, I want to trade at 7. And by noon, I want to be done. I want to go eat. I want to go walk or ride my bike or whatever I'm doing. So I treat it just like I treat any of my other businesses. And I think because of that structure is why I've been able to be somewhat successful with it. But I plan to really I actually plan to have it like pay for my Mexico livelihood by the time my 1 year anniversary hits, and it's very, very doable.
That's amazing. And so I like what you just mentioned in terms of not only wanting that to happen, but also structuring your day, your life for that.
Yeah.
So what is a typical day in the life of Natasha? What does that look like?
So I will say, I tell my friends in the States all the time, like I went through many, many sacrifices to have a boring life as possible. So my life is very, very calm at the time, and I enjoy that. I love the peace and serenity of it.
Hmm.
So my typical morning, I wake up, I meditate, I manifest, and then I turn on my radio. I'm, getting my vibe going, and then I trade. I might trade for an hour or two. After that, I start checking emails for my consulting business. I do that. Then after that, I might have a touch base with my property manager or something like that, just to see what's going on. Because right now I'm trying to place a tenant and two tenants actually in the 4 unit. So I'm like, so it's like all these things that you're almost like managing the manager. I know we love to say like it's passive income. Yes, it is passive in the sense that I'm not physically doing everything, but still, when stuff is not getting done or I'm feeling like it's taking too long, I still have to jump in and I still have to keep a pulse on everything. So
Yeah.
that's my typical morning. And then I like to be done with everything by noon, quite honestly. I'm done by noon. I get on my bike, I ride around, I go eat, I might go to the beach. And then by 3, I'm taking my nap. and,
Amazing. Did
and
you
then,
say nap?
yeah, naps are crucial. Naps are and
and and we're actually in the like literally in the Black History Month, and the theme is black resistance, right? So rest is the important, especially
rest and
for us Black
rejuvenation
people.
is crucial. Keep this
Yeah,
skin popping.
yeah.
And, and it is the power of youth. I tell people all the time. And
Mhm.
and then at 5 or 6, I go to Pilates. And then on the weekends, I'm typically at the beach. I go to dinner. Me and you met at a dinner, and I try to connect with our community out here and just do different things like that. So it's not like I'm doing all these super exciting things every day. I just have my normal routine as anyone else would wherever they're living.
That's amazing. That's great that you actually literally, like, your three source of income right now are giving you the possibility of living the life that you want, essentially, right? So
Yeah.
most people
Mm-hmm.
have that one job, and that one job is the one preventing them from living their lives. And you have three sources of income, and each and every of them allows you to literally live anywhere in the world and do
Yeah.
whatever you want, take as many naps as you want,
Yeah.
and do anything that you want to do. So I'm just saying that just to say, essentially, there is a way if that's really something that you're interested in, because then that helps you to live your other passion that you say, which is essentially traveling, right? So
Yes.
that's great.
Travel is
So you,
definitely my passion. I've been to 34 countries thus far,
wow,
and I'm trying to go to many, many more.
that is amazing. So as you know, on this platform, we talk about Black women, we talk about Black women building wealth. So can you share some of your insights, when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth attainment for Black women? Why do you think it's so important? I do think it's important for Black women to build wealth, but I'm hoping that you think the same, and that's why you said yes and that you're here. So why do you think it's so important for Black women to build wealth?
I think it's extremely important. I think it can no longer be something that we just talk about. It needs to be a requirement in our lives. As Black women, sometimes we have to be the head of our household. We have to be everything. I know I am. I raised my son by myself. He's 27 years old now. Thank goodness, a good Black man. You know what I'm saying? But I did it by myself. I was a single parent. So we're the matriarchs, we're holding things together. Even if we're wives, we're still having to be wives, mothers, friends, sisters. We sometimes have to be everything to everyone.
Exactly.
So, with that being said, we need to put these systems in place to make sure that we are taken care of and our loved ones are taken care of also. And then that helps relieve some of the pressure off of us so that we can, again, not only self-love, take care of ourselves, but take care of our loved ones too, like actually take care of them, Last May for Mother's Day, I was able to pay off my mother's house. You know what I'm saying? And I would
Wow.
not have been able to do that had I not had all these systems in place way before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was, just so grateful to be able to do that for her. But let's say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't even think that would have like really crossed my mind. I had to take the steps and make the sacrifices to do that. So going back to your original question, I think is extremely important. I think even if we're taking little steps each way, we're still moving forward. We need to be connected. We are better. We are all stronger as a unit, and we need to utilize each other's resources to take those steps and get us all further on this journey. We can no longer rely on this paycheck from this corporation that don't care about us. We need to be put and I get a paycheck from a corporation too, from my consulting company, but that is just a vehicle to do everything else I want to do. I'm not just sitting there just content with it. I can no longer be in that place. Like, the world has told us we can't do that. You know what I mean? We have to be more than that.
That's great. And so on that note, any advice that you would like to share with Black women out there, looking at investing, or like even like investing in real estate, or like anything that really is relevant for Black women, any advice that you will want to share?
Yeah, I would definitely say, as I keep saying, talking about unity, and being stronger together, like find your network, find a network. And if there isn't one, create one. You know what I mean? Like, you and I met and now you wanted to connect on this. Now we have our network, you know what I'm saying? And the network will continue to grow and grow and grow. Find the things that you're interested in, whether it's investing, whether it's opening, whatever, a school of dance, whatever. Find your network and then connect with those people and build together, because at least then you're still moving forward, you're still growing. Well, even in real estate, you can take one house or one 4-unit, one apartment building, whatever, and invest with a whole bunch of other women. Yeah, you won't be getting 100% of the profits, but you're still getting profit. And that's the goal. Like, it's more than I started out with. So for me, just being united, that's to me like the most important thing, and tapping into each other as a resource. Like, we have to come together, and because we have proven it so many times. Look what we've done with elections and things like that. Black women are really running things.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We really do run things. And so we can do it with financings and investing also.
Okay. So what would you say usually we have a lack of when you look at how other people are building wealth compared to how, I'll say, Black people, or specifically Black women, are building wealth? One thing that I like to say, just to give you an example, is that we're really good at stretching the dollar. If it's to save money, we can save money. But, when it comes to really making that money work for us, investing, somehow we don't have the confidence. We're not, I don't know if it's a lack of knowledge, lack of trust, lack of confidence, or like,
all that.
So what from your perspective, like,
from my perspective,
do you think we need to overcome?
I think what we lack, we don't have the educational resources like other people do, just as a race in general. We don't have the educational resources like other people do to, know what our options are. Know that there are programs out there, knowing about all these things that are available to us. We don't, that information doesn't get trickled down to us for whatever reason. And I'm sure there's a lot, but it doesn't get to us. So sometimes, like me, so now I've learned about things. There might be like just one person, a few people who know the information, and that's unfortunate. We need to spread the knowledge as much as possible, because the more of us who know it, the more of us are doing it. And then it just becomes easier for all those people who come after us. But I think lack of resources, lack of education, and I don't mean going to school education. I just mean like the education that's out there about these different programs, or just how to do it. Like, you asked me about delayed financing. Like, I never heard of it before I did it, before my mentor told me about it. You seem to not have heard of it. You know what I mean? We have to make sure people know about that. We have these options to do these things. We don't always have to go to the bank and put 20% down. 20% down. There's a ton of different ways to buy a property. There's a ton of different ways to get the money to buy a property. There's not just one way to do it. So yeah, we need to just, tap into each other, get the knowledge.
Right. And if I may go back to the mentor, how did you do to find the right mentor for you?
How did I find my mentor? Okay, so to be quite honest, I think it might have been on social media. Maybe I was or when Clubhouse first started. I don't know about Clubhouse now. I had to get off of it. But I know when it first started, there was actually a lot of good information on there. And then I would just listen while I was working. I started following people on social media. I started asking questions, and me and this person, we connected, and he kind of became my mentor, my friend mentor, you know what I mean? It is a man. And so yeah, that's how I actually found him. But again, I think it's probably tapping into those networks and finding people who, who don't mind sharing, you know what I mean? And I do know some people charge for that, but if it's a real mentorship program and they are really doing it and things like that, where you can tap in and actually get all the resources you need, get all the stuff that you need, and then I still actually think it's very much worth it.
That's great. And so one thing that I ask all of my interviewees is about their wealth building superpower. So what is that one skill that you feel like you have mastered, throughout your life, or like your journey of building wealth, which has served you really well and still serving you when it comes to actually building wealth? What would you say?
You know what? I'm going to say something that might sound a little bit unexpected, but I would think my empathy for others is what's helped me. And the reason why I say that is starting with my consulting company. The reason why I'm always able to retain clients or get return clients is because I have like a real personality, you know what I mean? And I'm able to understand where they're coming from and provide them a solution for their needs. It's the same thing with investing, where when I'm working with wholesalers, even now that I have tenants, when I'm working with tenants, I am empathetic to whatever things that are happening. I still need to make my coin, you know what I mean? But I am empathetic. Even working with my general contractors, I understand that there's things that happen during a rehab, so I'm able to retain tenants and I'm able to retain my team because, I'm not just this by the book, everything has to be that. I have to save every single penny. I do know that sometimes there is a little bit of give and take.
Okay, that is great. Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that you still need to get your coins. One of my videos actually is titled 5 mistakes that I feel like landlords always do. And one of them is actually to get really close to their, with their tenants, and almost sometimes you don't know if the tenant is still a tenant or a friend. And so it becomes a bit blurry, and it makes the whole, it makes it a bit like a bit difficult, right? Because your friend will come and tell you, can I just, maybe give you the rent money 2 weeks after? So you don't know if it's a tenant or it's a friend. But I like that you mentioned, yes, I'm empathetic. However, I still need to get my rent paid. So that
Absolutely.
needs to.
And I don't actually know any of my tenants. That's why I have a property manager. But sometimes, they don't know me. I don't know them. I've never met them. But sometimes she'll tell me about situations that's going on with them. And I'm like, oh, okay, I still need my rent, but give them an extra 2 days. I'll do something like that. Or like one of my tenants, she's actually in a housing program. She's transitioning out of a domestic violence situation. So this program that she's in rents the apartment for a year for her to help her get back on her feet. And then my property manager told me that, they had like their little air mattresses in there. They didn't really have furniture or whatever. So I said, oh, can you go to Walmart, get them a gift card or whatever for Christmas, just to help her out. You know what I mean? So things like that, so I have a heart. I'm a woman also. I'm a Black woman also. I raised my son by myself also. Things could have took a different turn for me also, very easily. So I do understand. But her rent is always paid because she's in the program.
That is good that you mentioned that, because though I feel like, women and Black women in general, we're not that much in investing or even in business. Studies have shown that once we get into it, we do really well because of that aspect of us being empathetic, like, understanding people's situation a bit better, and just like not, yes, the numbers do talk. You want to have your money and all of those things, but that also can, like you say, help you retain tenants, looking at the long term and whatnot. So I think it's also definitely something that I think it's an amazing wealth building superpower, empathy. I think it's actually an amazing skill, a life skill, not only for wealth building, but I think if everybody could have a bit more of empathy the world could be a better place to live. So
Absolutely.
definitely an amazing skill. And so my other thing I wanted to ask you is your property manager. And I'm asking because here in Canada, usually when you get a property management company, they take 10% of your rent.
Okay.
So that's something that essentially you need to factor in, when you do your numbers. So how does
Yep.
that work in the US? Is it the same thing as well?
Yep, it's pretty much the same thing. One of my property managers charges 8%, but yeah, 10% is the normal. The one that has the two properties that I was just referring to, she charges 10%. So yep, 10% is about the norm. And you're absolutely right. When before I even put a property under contract, I whip out my little spreadsheet. I figure out kind of based on market what the rent could be. Section 8 even has those different numbers posted on their websites and things like that. I see what the potential rent's going to be. I see, like, say for the 4-unit, what the water bill is going to be. You know, I call the water company. I actually ask them, like, historically every quarter, how much is it? You know what I mean? I put that number in there. I put a percentage in for maintenance, for if anything goes wrong, like reserves. You know what I mean? I put their fee in. And so, yeah, it's not just like a simple cut and dry, like, the mortgage is paid and I get all this money. You know what I mean? Yes, there are expenses that come along. And then say in states that have snow, maybe Canada's the same. The snow removal fee that comes in the wintertime, that's a fee. You know, I incorporate all that. And then if the number still makes sense, okay, I'm with it.
Okay, that's great. And so the other thing that I want to check with you was in relation to, so now you say you're focusing on single family house and also 1 to 4 units.
Yep.
So I don't know, like in Canada, we had like a steep increase of interest rate last year. And I think in the US, it was exactly the same as well.
Mm-hmm.
Has that impacted your
Yeah.
business in any way, shape,
Yeah.
or form?
So I actually haven't bought a new property since July. That's when I bought the 4-unit, like in June or July, I think at the beginning of July. Number one, because I was rehabbing 1 unit at a time, it was 4 units. But then also, you're right, the interest rates are ridiculous right now. So I'm actually thinking about leveraging some other ways to like finance a property, maybe like direct to seller, where you can actually pay the seller directly. And then after a year or two, then you have to get an actual mortgage on it or paid off or something like that. So, but then with that, you're in hopes that like in a year or two, the interest rates are better, you know? So yeah, absolutely. That is something that I think about all the time, because now it just costs more to buy it, you know, or to finance it, rather, not to buy it, but to buy it also, but to finance it costs more because of the interest rates. So it definitely has impacted me. And that's why you said we should have multiple streams. Because say right now, if I don't want to buy something, I'm actually been focused on trading a lot more, you know? So some days I'm making what I make on that Section 8 property, that $12.50, you know, I've made that in 1-day trading. So it's just like a balance, and it's just a constant balance. So, you know, you just have to keep wearing your many different hats and keep it going. But yes, definitely something I think about. Yeah.
Great. And so on the day trading, what exactly are you trading? Is it stocks? Is it options? Do you mind sharing?
Yep, I don't mind sharing. So I actually started out trading FOREX, and that's the one that I primarily had my $1,000 days with. And I love trading the London session, but you know, here, that's my favorite, honestly. But here, when the London session opens, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I was about to say, that's like in the night here.
Yeah, I'm talking about yeah. But yes, I wake up, I would trade it, but then I was like starting to become a little drained. So I had to like redo my thought process on that. So I still trade FOREX, but now I trade US 30 with FOREX, which is US 30 Dow Jones. People might call it Dow Jones. And that is basically, you know, compromise of like all these different stocks. And I trade that on the New York market. So that's, you know, normal time for us. Okay. Then also recently I started trading options. And so that's what I've been practicing now. I was actually just practicing before I joined the call. And now I'm just learning how to do that. And what I'm hoping is that options in FOREX, either I make the same amount or I make more in options. Actually, it don't matter. You know what I mean? To me, they're just different streams of income. I just think of it another stream of income. Yeah.
Right. And your goal with your day trading is to get to a point where it's providing you enough income to cover your living expenses.
Yeah, definitely. So we do live in Mexico, but we don't live in like the cheapest place in Mexico. We live in a very Americanized place in Mexico. So it's not like $200 a month to live. But yeah, I think I want day trading. I want my other incomes. I just want to stack that money or reinvest that money. And I really want to use day trading to live off of. I kind of do it now. So say if I'm trading and I'm just making this up and I make $100 and then I'll just put that $100 for like some groceries or whatever I'm doing out here. You know what I mean? So I'm doing that now. Actually, the unit I just finished rehabbing, my day trading, every time I make money on it, I put it into the rehab. You know what I mean? So I'm just funneling the money at this point. So yeah, now that the 4 unit is done being rehab, I'm like, okay, I want to start living off of it. I want to start paying rent. I want to start doing, these things in Mexico with it. And then when I start traveling, I want to start paying for my travels with it. And I just want to stack the rest or reinvest it.
Yeah. That's great. And so I'm pretty sure there are some Black women out there who's listening to all that, and people are just like, oh my God, and really interested probably, to get in touch with you, whether it is, for your day trading, whether it is, for you building wealth through real estate investing. What is the best way to get in touch with you?
Is it okay to give my Instagram? Is that okay?
Yeah, that is okay. And I can put it also in the description of the video if that's fine with you. Yeah.
So my Instagram is Tasha Loves to Laugh. It's TASHALUVS, the number 2, LAFF. And I am on Instagram. I do answer my message on there. I put a lot of my travels on there. You can see when I went to Ghana. You can see I went to Russia, Greece. I mean, I've been all over the place, some of my Mexico stuff. But yeah, you can hit me up on there. I'm happy to answer any questions and connect with other like-minded people.
Great. And who knows, you might also find your next, business partner.
I thought you was going to say husband. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That is totally possible too. Who knows, right?
That might be a whole nother conversation, but yeah.
You never know with those videos going out there who's going to be listening to them. But I do know by looking at the stats that it's not only women watching my videos, and that's fine. That is fine. So that's good. Who knows? And that's perfectly fine. So any final word, like anything that we haven't covered that you want to share with the audience. And one thing that I want to say before actually you answer that question is I would love to have you back on the platform, because I feel like you're building so many different streams of income right now. It would be nice, maybe in a year or 2 years down the road to get in touch with you and see how things have evolved.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure knowing you by then, you would have had your 7 streams of income all established. So I'm putting that in the universe for you. And that would be amazing to have you back and just hear how the journey went. So something, I'm just letting you know, I'll be, in touch to let you know, how about you come back on the, on the channel to give us a bit of an update. So any advice, any final word that you would like to share with the audience?
I think my advice or my final word would be we're stronger together. One of the things that I love meeting and talking with other Black women about is, financial empowerment. So when you asked me to do it, I was nervous, but I was like, actually, those are things I love to talk about all the time. Like I could talk about making money all day long, literally. And I love coming up with new ideas. So when you get that energy going amongst us, we are truly unstoppable, in my opinion. So that would be my advice to anyone. Connect, and don't be afraid to connect, because, sometimes we step outside of our comfort zone and it's the best thing that could have happened to us. So, don't be afraid to connect with your sis and be like, hey sis, can I ask you a question? Blah, blah, blah. Because I do it with people all the time. Like, oh, how did you get started with that? Or whatever, just because I'm just so curious. And, that's how we grow, so, and don't stop the journey. That would be my second piece of advice. Like we all have setbacks, we can't be so hard on ourselves. It's just part of life and it's part of growth. And that's how we learn actually, but we just got to keep pushing forward. As long as we keep pushing, we're going to get to that end goal.
Yeah, I agree with you. And honestly, I think, it was the first time we met that I don't know if that I asked you at that meeting or I asked you after. I think I asked you after, but I had to also, get out of my comfort zone because I just met you out. I didn't know you, but I'm like, as soon as you start talking about real estate investing, I'm like, her and I, we on the same page here, and I would love for people to hear. And you said yes. Had I not asked, would have been no, like, I wouldn't have you on the channel. And one of my good friends always says, she's like, closed mouth don't get fed. If you want something, you have to ask. And I think that's something that definitely Black women in general we can do better at, being comfortable asking. Worst case scenario, it's gonna be no, and that's not a big deal. Nobody has ever died because someone told them no.
Right.
Move on to the next person.
Right.
Eventually you will find someone who will say yes, and who knows, that could yield like, so much more. So I agree with you. Connect, ask. There is no that's the way that other people also build their network, by asking, and also being of service to others, because you just don't want to take, but also being available when people ask you to help.
Yes.
Just also being of service to others. I think that's important, that it's definitely both ways. So where are you going next for your travel? You didn't mention that you visited 34 countries, which I'm super jealous about, because I'm not traveling too. I don't think I would.
I've been in your country too. I've been in your country.
But I haven't been to 24 countries yet. But yeah, I know. So I was really surprised even when you said that you came to Benin, my home birth country. So what are your travel plans for this year? Because we just started 2023. Anything in plan that you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I'm definitely wanting to get back to the motherland. I want to get on the continent again. Africa is one of my favorite places to go. I've been to 5 countries in Africa thus far. I do want to go somewhere else. I would love to go to Senegal this year. But I also, there's so many places, quite honestly, in Africa that I would love to go. But I definitely want to get back to Africa this year. We're right here next to Belize, and I've never been. I'm like, I could just go to Belize real quick, and I've never been. So I'm thinking about doing that. I'm kind of one of those people, like, I could wake up and be like, let me look. If I find a good air flight, I'm going. So that's kind of how I've been doing it since I moved to Mexico. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to figure that out now, because where the Wi-Fi is strong, I'm gonna go.
That's great. That is amazing. And how long have you been living in Mexico now?
Yep. So in May, it will be my 2-year anniversary of living in Mexico. Yep. So yeah. And quite honestly, I've been enjoying it. It is a transition, of course, like anything else. But, I enjoy my space. I enjoy, riding my bike. I enjoy like a much better work-life balance than I had in the States, to be honest. So yeah.
Right. Perfect. And are you seeing yourself staying in Mexico for, like a longer time, or do you have your eyes on another country to establish yourself?
I don't have my eyes on another country at this time, only because the logistics of Mexico just work out so well. Being that I'm from Texas, I can hop to Texas so easily from here. The flight is just under 2 hours. There's good infrastructure where we live. The Wi-Fi is good. Like, they have normal gyms with air conditioning, normal hot water with good pressure. I'm not missing any of the normal things that I do in the States. So that's why right now it's a good place for me, at least for a base. So I always say Playa is my base now. I like it. And then I will still travel the world, but like, I will come home to Playa. So right now I'm in Mexico, unless something, miraculous happens.
Amazing. So anyway, I want to thank you again for coming on the platform, for sharing your journey. I have personally learned so much, and that's why I really wanted to also interview someone who's doing real estate investing outside of Canada, because you just gave me some ideas now, things to look into, because there are things that I didn't know, right? So I've never heard of. So I think that's the way, like you just say, as you talk to other people doing it, they're gonna give you ideas, and that can also help you in your own journey. So I'm hoping that the audience got so much from this, and people will be in touch. So again, if you're listening to this, if you really enjoyed it, don't forget, to hit the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. Exactly. And hit the notification bell, because this is just the beginning. For sure, the first 3 interviews that I've done so far are real estate investing, but I promise you, for those who are out there not really interested in real estate investing, I will also be interviewing Black women building wealth, with other ways. So that could be like, with the businesses, I guess regular businesses as we know them, or like, with like investing, equity portfolio investing, or anything else. So even if I can get someone doing crypto, because I know crypto is like, the elephant in the room for a lot of people right now, but I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that are building wealth through crypto investing. So just a matter of finding them and bringing them on the platform. So I'll try to do that. Again, Natasha, thank you so much for coming on the channel. And I guess I'll see you around.
Thank you so much. Bye,
You're
everyone.
welcome. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.